What it do, nation? Welcome to the 5th episode of the One Shield, One Nation show. I'm your host, Raider Fab, and today I'm going to be talking about all the Raider info, everything that's been going on with the nation in the last couple weeks. So let's get into it. So probably the biggest news in the last week or so has been the official extension of quarterback Geno Smith. He has signed a 2-year, $75 million extension that can be worth up to $85.5 million, with $66.5 of it being fully guaranteed. I love this deal personally. It keeps Geno Smith in Vegas for at least the next 3 years and buys us some time to really do our due diligence in finding our quarterback of the future. If the organization doesn't feel confident in any quarterback this draft, then we can hold back and stack players at other positions, although I still think that we will take one at some point this draft. I also like that they didn't go crazy with the deal. Geno is ranked 16th in quarterback pay with an average of $37.5 per year. That also still allows us to be able to spend heavily in free agency if needed for the years to come. Also, if we get to 2027 and aren't happy, we can get out of the contract with no dead cap money, which is also huge. I watched the press conference and interview and I was really impressed with Geno. I love his maturity and confidence, and you can tell he wants to come here to win. He spoke about how he has already been practicing with JPJ, getting that center quarterback chemistry going. Another interesting fact is that Geno's numbers inside of domes is 30 touchdowns with 5 interceptions and a rating of 110.8 in 14 games. As opposed to him playing outdoors, his stats are 43 touchdowns and 31 interceptions with a rating of 89.7 in 36 games. Obviously, that can be huge because Allegiant is an indoor stadium and we have 9 home games this year. Also, out of 8 of our away games, 3 of them will be inside dome stadiums. So if he can keep playing great indoors how he has been, then shit, we should be in good shape. Matter of fact, let's quickly go over our 2025 opponents. Even though we don't know the exact schedules, we do know our opponents. Our home games will be against the Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans, Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, Cleveland Browns, and Chicago Bears. And our away games will be against the Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers, which is an indoor stadium, Houston Texans, which is also indoors, Indianapolis Colts, which is also indoors, Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Commanders, and New England Patriots. In other news, cornerback Jack Jones was released. This did come as a bit of a shock, being that he was one of our starters last year, but I think it ultimately had to do with his attitude or discipline on and off the field. He had gotten in some trouble in New England, most notably for having a loaded firearm in his carry-on at the airport, as well as missing curfew at the team hotel, which ultimately led to him being released before we picked him up. He was also benched last year for us due to lack of effort early in the season. He would have some flashes of being a good player, but then would give up big plays or give up on tackling, etc., etc. As of right now, he has cleared waivers, so he is officially a free agent. Hopefully he can shape up. I'm sure a team will take a chance on him. I wish him all the best in his future endeavors. Also, 2 of our unrestricted free agents have signed elsewhere. Defensive end Janarius Robinson signed with the Chiefs on a 1-year, $1.1 million deal, and Terrace Marshall Jr. signed a 1-year deal with the Eagles. They were just rotational pieces for us, so it's nothing major in terms of losses. Let's see if they can have some sort of resurgence with their other teams. We have officially re-signed all 5 of our exclusive free agents, that being defensive end Charles Snowden, linebacker Kanai Moaga, DT Matthew Butler, O-lineman Jordan Meredith, and cornerback Sam Webb. I spoke more in depth on these players in previous episodes, so feel free to go check that out. There has also been reports that Jakobi Meyers is open to signing an extension and would like to remain with the Raiders beyond 2025. I think this will be the next big re-signing along with possibly Colton Miller, but there is still plenty of time for them to work on this. It's definitely good to hear that he is happy in Vegas. Now we just have to make the numbers make sense. Right now he is currently our number 1 wide receiver and is ranked as the 30th top paid wide receiver in the league. So I'm sure if we can get him maybe into the top 20, he would be happy, but we will see. And finally, we have been busy bringing in a bunch of draft prospects for the pre-draft visit, being that the draft is less than 2 weeks away. The players that have reportedly visited or will be visiting are Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, who has ties to Tom Brady. Ohio State quarterback Will Howard, who has ties to OC Chip Kelly, being that they won the national championship together. Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart, who many believe is the 3rd best quarterback in the draft. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers, who spoke highly of Pete Carroll. Michigan State cornerback Will Johnson, who many believe is one of the top cornerbacks in the draft. William & Mary offensive lineman Charles Grant, who can potentially be our left tackle of the future if drafted. Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham, who is the top defensive tackle in the draft. Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty, who we have already met with on numerous occasions and is the top running back in the draft. UCLA linebacker Carson Schwessinger, who was recruited by Chip Kelly while he was the head coach at UCLA. Michigan defensive end Josiah Stewart, who has been compared to Max Crosby, having that high motor, explosive speed, and relentless effort. Notre Dame cornerback Benjamin Morrison, who is projected to go late in the first or early in the second round. UCLA pass rusher Oluwafemi Oladejo, who was recruited by Chip Kelly at UCLA. Miami quarterback Cam Ward, who is slated to be the top QB in the draft, potentially the number 1 pick overall. Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe, who is an explosive dual-threat quarterback capable of making big plays with his running ability. Louisville quarterback Tyler Shuck, who appears to be more of a developmental project that has battled multiple injuries. Kentucky cornerback Maxwell Hairston, who is slated to go in the first round. Iowa State wide receiver Jalen Noel, who is an intriguing slot receiver prospect with consistent year-over-year production, elite speed, and dynamic open field ability. LSU offensive tackle Will Campbell, who is expected to go top 10 in the draft. Missouri wide receiver Luther Burden, who is slated to be one of the top 5 wide receivers in the draft. Iowa running back Caleb Johnson, who is a top 3 draft prospect at the running back position. Texas Tech offensive lineman Caleb Rogers, who could be a rotational right tackle for us. California linebacker Teddy Buchanan, who could be a rotational player at linebacker or a special teams piece, definitely a later round pick. Georgia linebacker Jalen Walker, who a lot of the mock drafts have him slated to go as high as 8th in the draft. UTSA cornerback Za Frazier, who is a fast, tall, developmental player Carroll could potentially turn into a stud. Georgia safety Malachi Starks, who is one of the top 3 safety prospects. And South Carolina safety Nick Emanwari, who is also one of the top 3 safety prospects. And North Dakota State quarterback Cam Miller, who is a 2-time NCAA FCS national champion and has garnered a lot of intrigue after impressive showings at the Shrine Bowl and Pro Day. If these visits are any indication, this shows that they are definitely looking into the quarterback market, so don't be surprised if any of these guys drop to us in maybe the 3rd or 4th round. I don't think we'll take a quarterback in the first 2 rounds. I can either see Genty, Will Johnson, or Mason Graham in the first round. Maybe even Will Campbell if we move back a couple spots, and maybe someone like Luther Burden or Schlesinger in the second. I like everyone they have brought in and can see a lot of those players filling in nicely in our roster with our given schemes. Of course, the visits don't necessarily mean that that's who they will actually be drafting though, so I guess we have to wait and see. I'm just excited that the draft is in less than 2 weeks and we'll finally know who we are grabbing. But yeah, Nation, I'm going to cut it here. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Show some love down in the comments too. Talk to me, Nation. Peace.